The fluorescent lights of the deserted office hummed, casting long, distorted shadows across the cubicles. Sam's neck ached. He was finalizing a project report, a direct result of Leo from sales proposing a dozen last-minute enhancements during the afternoon meeting. His mother's number flashed on his phone, and he swiped to answer, activating the speaker. Her voice, sharp with the frustration of having attended 2 baby showers for her friend's grandchildren in 1 week, filled the silent space. She bemoaned his status as a nearly 30-year-old bachelor, declaring that raising him had yielded fewer returns than a bad stock market investment. She gave him an ultimatum: find a wife, or don't bother showing up for Sunday dinner anymore. He sighed, rubbing his temples as the call ended. A soft chuckle from behind made him spin around in his chair. Leo stood leaning against the doorframe, a picture of effortless style in his tailored suit, an expression of detached amusement on his face. Sam's irritation spiked. It was deeply unethical to eavesdrop. He snapped his laptop shut, informing Leo with a clipped tone that the file was in his work email and that he should stay out of his office. He found the mere sight of him grating. Leo, unperturbed, sauntered in, his expression shifting to one of mock sympathy. He offered a suggestion, his eyes glinting with mischief. Sam could just tell his mother he was gay. Sam scoffed at the ridiculousness of it, the words tumbling out before he could stop them. He asked who exactly he was supposed to find to play his boyfriend. Him? He'd meant it as a barb, a way to make the smug sales director uncomfortable. For years, they had been professional rivals, their clashes in meetings legendary. Leo was the boss's golden boy, and his constant stream of brilliant ideas meant endless overtime for Sam's product development team. He was, without a doubt, the most infuriating man Sam knew. He stared at Leo, a sarcastic smirk playing on his lips, expecting a flustered denial. He challenged him, remarking that the sales director was all talk, never considering the difficult realities of execution. Leo said nothing for a long moment, his gaze dropping to Sam's mouth. Just as Sam was savoring his small victory, Leo looked up, a surprisingly shy smile gracing his features. He said he would be honored to help. Sam felt the floor drop out from under him. The joke had backfired spectacularly. He sank back into his chair, insisting it was just a joke, that Leo shouldn't take it seriously. But Leo was resolute. He checked his watch, noting he had no plans for the evening and suggesting there was no time like the present to solve Sam's predicament once and for all. He would accompany him home tonight. Sam tried to protest, stating it was a private matter that didn't require Leo's dedicated attention. Leo's eyebrow arched. He wondered aloud what Sam was so afraid of, unless, of course, he really was gay. A cold sweat broke out on Sam's forehead. The man had guessed his biggest secret. There was no way he could let his arch-nemesis hold this kind of leverage over him. Gritting his teeth, Sam stood up, his voice tight with false bravado. He dared Leo, saying whoever backed down was a coward. They were going to his mother's, and they were coming out. By the time they reached his mother's apartment building on the outskirts of Chicago, Sam's adrenaline had worn off, replaced by a churning dread. He thought of his mother's explosive temper and faltered, suggesting to Leo that it was a reckless impulse and he should probably just go home. Before he could finish, Leo reached past him and rang the doorbell. The door swung open to reveal his mother, grumbling about him forgetting his keys again. Then she saw Leo. Leo smiled, his voice several notes softer than his usual confident baritone. He wished her a good evening, his demeanor utterly charming and respectful. His mother's lecture died in her throat. Before Leo could introduce himself, Sam quickly stepped in, explaining that he was a colleague and they'd worked late. so he'd invited him over for a bite to eat. His mother's eyes darted between them, a flicker of suspicion in her gaze, but she nodded and ushered them inside to reheat the pot roast. Leo, ever the salesman, was a master of service. He insisted she not trouble herself, shrugging off his blazer and rolling up his shirt sleeves. He took over the kitchen, expertly chopping vegetables and searing them in a hot pan, effectively displacing Sam's mother, who was left standing awkwardly to the side. She eventually retreated to the living room, looking bewildered. She commented on how capable his colleague was. Sam could only manage a dry laugh, agreeing that Leo was certainly something. He followed Leo into the kitchen, closing the sliding door behind him. He poked him in the back, whispering that he was calling the whole thing off. He told him to act normal, to stop behaving like an overeager son-in-law trying to impress his future family. Over the roar of the exhaust fan, Leo turned, shouting for him to repeat himself. Sam got on his tiptoes, putting his mouth next to Leo's ear to be heard, telling him to stop. Leo suddenly turned his head, and the warm skin of his cheek brushed against Sam's lips. Sam froze, stumbling back. Leo's voice was quiet now. He confided that this was exactly how he'd handled his own family, and they hadn't bothered him about marriage since. He promised it worked. Sam's gaze fell, a storm of indecision brewing within him. He confessed he wasn't prepared for this, suggesting they try another day. Leo turned back to the stove, his tone becoming all business. He informed Sam that, according to office chatter, he had been pressured about his marital status no fewer than 3 times this week, with at least 2 blind dates arranged. His mood at work had been noticeably poor, verging on impacting his performance. As a colleague from a closely collaborative department, Leo felt it was his responsibility to help resolve the issue. Sam felt a pang of guilt. He hadn't realized his personal life was having such a visible effect. He apologized for his lack of professionalism. Leo waved it off, simply asking for his cooperation. He then turned off the heat, plucked a piece of savory beef from the pan, blew on it gently, and held it to Sam's lips. Sam hesitantly opened his mouth. It was delicious. He noticed that of all the food in the kitchen, Leo had chosen to cook his favorite dishes. He remarked on the coincidence. Leo corrected him, explaining it wasn't a coincidence at all. He had observed that Sam always frequented the same station in the company cafeteria. His preferences were easy to remember. Sam was stunned, asking why on earth he would bother remembering something like that. Was he planning to poison him? Leo fell silent for a moment, the salesman's instinct to read people kicking in. He simply said it was time to eat. Over dinner, Leo had Sam's mother eating out of the palm of his hand. She was so charmed she nearly adopted him on the spot. He had the kind of handsome, trustworthy face that mothers adored, a gentle smile and intelligent eyes. She declared that if she had a son like Leo, she would wake up smiling every day. Then she shot Sam a withering look, complaining that all he did was eat. Yet he couldn't even slice potatoes without cutting himself. Sam buried his face in his bowl, channeling his frustration into his appetite. Leo glanced at him, then turned to his mother with a placid smile. He assured her not to worry. From now on, he would cook for Sam. His mother patted Leo's hand affectionately but told him that wouldn't do. They were only colleagues, and he would have his own family to care for one day. That led to the inevitable question. Was he married? Leo looked down, a shadow of sorrow crossing his features. He said that marriage probably wasn't in the cards for him. When his mother asked why, he turned his face to a perfect angle, displaying a profile of tragic beauty. It was because he liked men. Sam's mother froze. For this, he explained, His parents had disowned him, refusing to speak to him for years. His eyes welled up with theatrical tears as he looked at her, his expression like that of a kicked puppy. He pleaded, asking if a beautiful, kind, and open-minded woman like her would discriminate against him. Flattered and cornered, his mother stammered that of course she wouldn't. Leo immediately pressed his advantage, wiping away a non-existent tear. He gushed about how wonderful she was, how he envied Sam for having such an enlightened mother. Then, with perfect timing, he lamented how late it was and how hard it would be to get a cab. He asked if he might possibly stay the night. She agreed. He scanned the small apartment, his eyes landing on Sam's bedroom door. He insisted the sofa would be fine, adding that even though he was 6'2" and wouldn't be able to stretch out, he wasn't picky. He just loved the atmosphere of her home so much. His mother's mouth twitched. She said that was no way to treat a guest, and told him to share Sam's room, apologizing for the cramped quarters. Leo accepted graciously. Sam watched the performance, dumbfounded. Before he knew it, Leo was in his room making the bed. His mother appeared at the door with a fresh set of pillows and a comforter, her gaze lingering on him. She mentioned quietly that the walls were thin and they should be mindful. The situation was now hopelessly complicated. He shut the door in frustration and threw a pillow at Leo, accusing him of being an incredible liar. His mother now genuinely believed he was gay. Leo caught the pillow, his expression calm. He pointed out that this was a good thing. The marriage pressure would cease. He should be happy. Besides, he added, the fact his mother hadn't thrown them out meant she had a decent tolerance level. He looked at Sam, his smile holding a hint of probing curiosity. He mused that if Sam ever did bring a boyfriend home for real, perhaps he'd be accepted. Sam fell silent. He hadn't stopped Leo's charade because, deep down, he'd wanted to test his mother's reaction. His sexuality had always felt like a landmine waiting to detonate. If she couldn't accept it, he would dismiss the night as a joke and resign himself to a life of solitude rather than cause her pain. But her reaction, it seemed there was a sliver of hope. Lost in thought, he didn't notice Leo had stripped down to his boxers. A snap of fingers in front of his face broke his trance. Leo patted the space on the bed beside him, telling him to get in. Sam's eyes widened at the sight of a well-defined torso and muscular arms. He yelped, asking who told him he could sleep naked. Leo looked at him with feigned innocence, pointing out that they were both men. He watched Sam's blush deepen, a wicked grin spreading across his face. He remarked on how red his face was, teasingly wondering if Sam truly was straight. To prove a point, Sam jumped onto the bed, his neck rigid. He declared he was straighter than Leo and that he wouldn't find any weakness to exploit. Leo chuckled and lay down beside him, switching off the lamp. In the darkness, the warmth and sound of the other man's breathing were suddenly overwhelming. Sam inched away toward the edge of the bed. A moment later, an arm snaked across his waist, pulling him back. He jumped, startled. Leo's voice was thick with sleep. He murmured that he was cold. Sam hissed at him to turn off the air conditioner. Leo mumbled that it would get too hot. He snuggled closer against Sam's back like a large puppy, nuzzling into his shoulder. He said holding him was the perfect temperature. He then added, his voice drowsy, that since Sam was a straight man, he wouldn't mind being held, right? Sam gritted his teeth. To maintain his cover, he endured it for 10 minutes, his body rigid. But he was a gay man in bed, being held by another man in the middle of the night. It was an impossible situation. Once he was sure Leo was asleep, he gently pushed him away and slipped out of the room, heading for the kitchen for a glass of water. As he passed his mother's bedroom, he caught the scent of whiskey and saw a sliver of light from under the door. Worried, he knocked softly and went in. She was standing in front of a photograph of his father, a glass in her hand. Seeing Sam, she quickly wiped her eyes and put the drink away. She asked if Leo was asleep. Sam nodded, his eyes drawn to the black and white picture on the wall. His father wasn't dead. He was a serial cheater who had been unfaithful since his mother was pregnant. She had finally divorced him, raising Sam alone. She'd had his photo edited to look like a memorial portrait and told everyone he was dead. His mother spoke suddenly, her voice cutting through the silence. She stated that Leo was his boyfriend, wasn't he? Sam's blood ran cold. He denied it. She scoffed, telling him not to lie, that she could see the way they were with each other. He asked what she could possibly see. They were usually at each other's throats. She insisted that Leo was in love with him. She could tell from the way he looked at him. Sam tried to argue it was just good acting, unsure if he should reveal the truth. Then his mother's expression softened. She said that if she had known this was who he was, she wouldn't have pushed him so hard. Sam was stunned. He asked if she could accept it. She gave a short, bitter laugh. Why couldn't she? What was wrong with liking men? His father, that bastard, liked women, and look at the mess he'd made of their lives. Whoever got involved with him was doomed. His mother reached out and ruffled his hair. She sighed, her voice gentle. She told him that no matter who he loved, man or woman, she could accept it. But he had to remember one thing. He must never become a person like his father. She added that Leo seemed like a good kid who had been through a lot. With parents who didn't understand him, he only had Sam. She told him to love him well. The situation had spiraled out of his control. He returned to his bedroom, his mother's words, "Love him well," echoing in his head. Love Leo? He'd rather die. He glared at the lump under the covers. This was the man who doubled his workload and caused him endless nights of overtime. People who fell for their colleagues had to be insane. The more he thought, the angrier he got. He kicked the mattress. He told the lump to move over and make some room. Leo's eyes fluttered open, hazy with sleep. The confusion cleared when he saw Sam, and his brow relaxed. He shifted over, then smiled faintly before closing his eyes again. Sam paused. He was so used to seeing Leo as an adversary that he'd never really looked at him. In this unguarded moment, looking so harmless, he was actually quite handsome. Sam slapped himself lightly on the cheek. He needed to remember the 15 product revisions Leo had proposed in that day's meeting alone. That brought him back to reality. The marriage problem was solved. This man's usefulness had expired. Tomorrow he was cutting ties. The first thing he saw when he opened his eyes was trouble. Leo's voice, raspy and low, greeted him. He was awake. Sam looked down. Sometime during the night, he had ended up in Leo's arms, one leg thrown over his hip, both hands gripping his chest. On pure instinct, he squeezed. The muscle was firm, springy. His brain finally caught up, and he snatched his hands back as if burned. He stammered an apology, feigning confusion as to how his hands had ended up there and blaming Leo for being careless. Leo's lips twisted into a smirk. He asked if it was his fault. He then shifted, his body pressing Sam into the mattress, one hand grabbing the waistband of his pajama pants. He whispered that he had other careless habits, too. Sam yelped that it was his fault, all his fault. He scrambled away from Leo's grasp and tumbled off the bed. He muttered for him to keep his hands to himself. As he pulled on his pants, he saw Leo was still shirtless, slowly looking for his clothes. A wicked idea sparked. While Leo was vulnerable, Sam leaned in close and whispered a crude threat. Leo's eyes widened in shock. The little punk was stunned. Sam felt a surge of triumph and walked out of the room laughing, humming a tune as he helped his mother with breakfast. When a fully dressed Leo finally emerged, his mother greeted him warmly, offering him a homemade bacon cheddar biscuit she'd made just for him. Leo sat down next to Sam and took the biscuit. After a moment's inspection, he placed it in Sam's bowl. He suggested Sam should eat more. Sam looked at him, confused. Leo met his gaze, his eyes full of meaning. He needed the extra energy, he said, to follow through on his threat. Sam's mother choked on her coffee. Sam choked on his own spit. His mother calmly stood up, wondering aloud if the oatmeal was burning, and fled to the kitchen. Mortified, Sam grabbed his briefcase and bolted from the apartment. Leo followed him back to the company, as composed as ever. The man's skin had to be an inch thick. Sam stormed off to his office and buried himself in work, trying to sweat out the morning's humiliation. Later, in the break room, he saw that familiar tall, lean figure standing by the coffee machine. The custom-tailored suit accentuated a narrow waist and broad shoulders. Sam's gaze lingered, and he swallowed hard, the memory of the muscles beneath the fine fabric still fresh. A voice broke his reverie. Leo asked if he was looking at him. He was holding a cup of coffee, a playful smile on his face. Sam's jaw tightened. He walked over, telling the narcissist to move, that he was blocking the machine. Leo stepped aside but didn't leave. He leaned in, his voice a low murmur, asking what Sam had been thinking about just now, why his ears were so red. Sam's hand trembled, nearly spilling his coffee. He told him to mind his own business. He took a sip of his drink and headed for the lounge area, feigning indifference. He didn't expect Leo to follow, his voice soft but carrying. He wondered if Sam wanted to touch him again. The coffee Sam had just sipped sprayed across the room. Several colleagues were scattered around the lounge, their eyes on their laptops but their ears clearly tuned in. Sam wished the ground would swallow him whole. He hissed at Leo to stop talking nonsense. Leo held up his hands in a gesture of innocence, his expression one of wide-eyed surprise. He claimed it was just a joke, asking why Sam was taking it so seriously. The damage was done. Within half an hour, a candid photo of them in the break room was circulating in the company gossip channels. Captions declared them a perfect match. The speculation ran wild. Some wondered if they were secretly together, while others pointed out Leo's reputation. It was common knowledge that several male colleagues had confessed their feelings to him over the years, all of whom were politely but firmly rejected. One person had overheard him state unequivocally that he wasn't interested in them. The consensus was that he was just teasing Sam. Sam read the messages, his face a mask of stone. He slammed his phone face down on his desk. Straight guys were so careless, always flirting without a thought. He mentally banished Leo, ignoring his messages and insisting on phone calls for work matters only. As the day ended, Leo knocked on his office door. He asked if Sam was ready to go. Sam then remembered the client dinner. A notoriously difficult client had specifically requested the head of product development be there to explain the design philosophy. Resigned, he packed his things and reluctantly got into Leo's car. At the restaurant, as he reached for the door handle, Leo grabbed his wrist. He asked why Sam hadn't been replying to his messages. Still angry, Sam claimed he'd been too busy to look. Leo didn't seem to believe him but let it go. He released his wrist and handed him a small box of pills. He told him to take a couple. They were for metabolizing alcohol. Tonight's client, a Mr. Henderson, was a heavy drinker, and Sam wouldn't be able to keep up. Sam paused, then took the box. While Leo parked, he checked his unread messages. They were all reminders to buy the pills. He felt a grudging sense of gratitude. Before the main course arrived, Sam gave a concise presentation of the product's features. Henderson was impressed, particularly with the very points Leo had suggested based on market feedback. The man truly had a gift. He was also a masterful negotiator, smoothly deflecting every attempt Henderson made to lower the price. Henderson, clearly displeased, turned his attention to Sam. He ambled over with a full bottle of whiskey, slurring that he felt an instant connection with Sam and that they had to share a drink to cement their future partnership. He filled a large tumbler to the brim and pushed it into Sam's hand. When Sam hesitated, Henderson's face darkened, asking if Sam thought he was too good for him. Sam, whose alcohol tolerance was practically non-existent, knew that glass would send him to the emergency room. He was steeling himself to drink it when Leo intervened. He stumbled over, claiming he wanted in on the toast. He feigned unsteadiness, bumping into Sam's arm and sending the whiskey splashing down Sam's shirt. Leo apologized profusely, giving Sam a meaningful look and suggesting he go clean up. Then he turned, slinging an arm around Henderson's shoulders, and boisterously declared he would keep him company. When Sam returned, Henderson was passed out at the table. Leo wasn't much better. He was sitting quietly on the sofa in the private room, smiling vacantly at Sam. He had saved him tonight, and Sam felt a wave of thankfulness. He gently patted Leo's cheek, asking if he could walk. He would take him home. Leo nodded, taking Sam's hand and using it to pull himself up. He draped himself over Sam, his chin resting on his shoulder, his hot breath tickling his ear. He murmured Sam's name, Sammy, and the sound sent a shiver down his spine. Getting Leo from the rideshare to his apartment was a workout. Sam dumped him on the bed and pulled off his shoes, panting. He told him to rest and turned to leave. A soft groan made him turn back. Leo was frowning, looking deeply uncomfortable as he fumbled with his tie. His fingers, clumsy with intoxication, couldn't manage the knot. Sam sighed and went back. Kneeling by the bed, he expertly loosened the tie and undid the top few buttons of his shirt. Leo's skin was pale, flushed pink from the alcohol. Sam's mouth went dry. He averted his eyes, pulled a thin blanket over him and told him to sleep. As he went to leave, his wrist was caught again. Leo's palm was burning hot. His eyes were half closed, his pupils unfocused. He mumbled that he wanted to take a shower. Sam sighed again. The man had helped him twice now. He supposed he owed him. He hauled him into the bathroom and ran a shallow bath. As he backed out of the room with Leo's discarded shirt and pants, he told him to call if he needed anything. Leo, sitting in the tub, looked down at his remaining pair of briefs with a puzzled expression. He said he hadn't finished undressing. Sam coughed, telling him to just wash like that. Leo looked up, his eyes wet and his expression wounded. He whined that they would get wet and it would be uncomfortable. This man was impossible when drunk. Sam threatened to leave. Leo's face fell, and to Sam's horror, he started to cry. Defeated, Sam told him fine, he could take them off. He closed his eyes and fumbled to pull off the last piece of clothing, tossing it aside. He grumbled that Leo should be glad he was a good person, or he'd record this whole pathetic display and share it with the entire company. He was so busy muttering that he didn't hear the soft laugh beside him. A wet arm wrapped around his shoulders, and Leo rested his head against his, whispering for Sam to help him wash. Sam went rigid. He pushed back, his face flaming, but Leo caught his hand, pulling him off balance and into the tub with him. Leo's chin rested on his shoulder. He said he was drunk, that it wasn't safe for him to be alone. His voice was soft, pleading. "Sammy, help me." Sam took a deep breath and met his eyes. He warned Leo not to test him. He was really gay. The man in front of him was just a drunk who wouldn't remember anything tomorrow. He was done pretending. He tilted Leo's chin up. He told him that if he kept this up, he couldn't guarantee what would happen. Leo's eyes widened as if in shock, but the corners of his mouth quirked up. The arm around him tightened. He didn't believe him. He dared him to prove it. He dared him to kiss him. He was smiling, a taunting, flirtatious glint in his eyes. He was playing with fire. Sam smirked and leaned in to teach the clueless man a lesson. The next second, Leo's hand shot up and cupped the back of his head, his strength belying his supposed drunkenness. Before Sam could even react, he was being pulled deeper into the water. Sam fled Leo's apartment in a state of panicked disarray. He'd messed up. He'd taken advantage of a drunk man. A drunk straight man. He was a monster. He couldn't face going to the office, so he called in sick and went to a gay bar to unload on his best friend, Casey. He argued that it wasn't entirely his fault. A straight man acting that seductively was a menace. Casey, ever practical, told him he was just lonely and sexually frustrated. 10 minutes later, two tall, muscular men in sharp suits were flanking him in the booth. Their chests strained against their shirts. They were models Casey had hired to cheer him up. They each took one of his hands and placed it on their sculpted abdominals, asking him to judge which of them was more impressive. Sam was about to shriek when he looked up and saw a familiar figure at the bar's entrance. Leo. His face was a thundercloud. He was still in his work suit, briefcase in hand, looking like he'd just come from a brutal negotiation. His eyes scanned the room and locked onto Sam, then dropped to Sam's hands on the model's stomachs. His eyes narrowed. This had to be revenge. Sam, terrified, yanked his hands away and made a mad dash for the restroom. He was fumbling with the lock when the door was forced open. Leo squeezed inside, slammed it shut, and shoved him against the sink. The countertop dug into his back, and he yelped. Leo advanced on him, trapping him with his arms. He asked what Sam was doing here. He said that was his question. 1 minute Sam was climbing out of his bed. The next he was here with other men. 2 of them. His hand clamped down on Sam's backside and squeezed hard, his eyes flashing with danger. He asked if he hadn't been satisfied the night before. Sam's scalp tingled. He stammered that it was a misunderstanding. They'd both been drunk. It was a mistake. He begged Leo to forget it happened, for the sake of their years as colleagues. Leo's expression grew even darker. He asked what he'd just said. Sam, close to tears, apologized profusely. It was his fault. He knew Leo was straight and he'd lost control. He offered to pay him money. Leo was silent for a long moment. Then he laughed, a cold, humorless sound. He asked who told him he was straight. Sam was confused. The whole company knew he rejected men. Leo clarified that he wasn't interested in the men who had confessed to him. He leaned closer, his eyes boring into Sam's. But the person he was interested in, he said, was definitely a man. His gaze was intense, like a deep, dark pool. Sam's heart began to pound. He asked who it was. Leo's eyes dropped to his lips. He was about to speak when his phone buzzed. He answered, and his brow furrowed in annoyance. His mother was at his apartment, and she'd brought an old colleague and her daughter with her. The tension in the small room evaporated. Sam felt a wave of relief and pushed him away, hopping off the sink. He told Leo to go handle his business. Leo snatched his hand, pulling him back against his chest. He said Sam was coming with him. A surge of irritation washed over Sam. He struggled, asking why he would want to be a third wheel at a blind date. Leo's jaw tightened. He reminded Sam that he'd been his shield. Now it was Sam's turn to help him. The scene at Leo's apartment was surreal. From the moment Leo walked in holding Sam's hand, the mood in the living room turned arctic. Leo smiled politely and introduced Sam as his boyfriend. His mother's friend shot to her feet, glaring at his mother, accusing her of deception for inviting them over when her son was gay. Leo's mother was stunned, trying to stammer out an explanation. The woman wasn't having it, accusing her of trying to trick her daughter into a lavender marriage before storming out with her daughter in tow. The door slammed shut. Leo's mother, her face livid, slammed her teacup down. She demanded to know if Leo was trying to humiliate her. Leo pulled Sam down onto the sofa beside him and retorted coolly, asking who was ambushing whom by bringing strangers into his home without notice. His mother scoffed, saying she didn't need permission to visit her own son. Leo's smile was laced with poison. He asked when she had started thinking of him as her son again. He reminded her of who had read his private journals, discovered his orientation, and hysterically threatened to disown him, who had gone to his school and nearly forced him to drop out, leaving him so broken he needed medication just to sleep. His hand was trembling slightly. He asked if he was her son or her enemy. His mother's lips trembled, and she looked away, unable to meet his gaze. Sam felt a knot of pain tighten in his own chest. What Leo had said at his mother's house hadn't been an act. It was all real. He reached out and touched Leo's cold fingers. Leo flinched, then immediately gripped his hand, his breathing steadying. His mother's gaze fell on Sam. She looked him up and down and asked coldly if he was the one Leo had a crush on in college. Lost in thought about Leo, Sam didn't register the question. His mother took his silence as confirmation. She sneered that he was nothing special, that she couldn't understand Leo's years-long obsession. Leo's voice was sharp. He told his mother that if there was nothing else, she should leave. They needed to rest. His mother, affronted at being dismissed but withered by his icy stare, picked up her purse. She shot Sam one last venomous glare, muttering that he wasn't any good either, stringing her son along for nearly a decade. She said he'd been cured until Sam came back into the picture. She sneered that she'd be waiting to see how their story ended. After she left, Sam stared at the door, her words replaying in his mind. Leo had been in love with someone from college for 10 years. A deep, abiding love. Sam felt a fool. In the bar, he had genuinely believed Leo was about to say his name. He took a deep breath and forced a cheerful tone. He announced that, with his mother dispatched, his mission was complete. They were even now. He stood up, manufacturing a polite smile. He said they were both adults and that some mistakes were best left in the past. From now on, they would go back to the way things were, colleagues, business only. Leo's expression shuddered. He stood up, asking what he meant, if he was just going to pretend last night didn't happen. Sam's own anger flared. How dare Leo act indignant when he had a decade-long torch burning for someone else? He sneered that of course he acknowledged it. He was single. Another notch on his bedpost meant nothing. But Leo was different. What would he tell his college sweetheart if he ever came back? He was just doing him a favor. Leo's face fell. He seemed to struggle for words. He asked Sam if he really didn't remember him at all. Puzzled, Sam followed him into the study. Leo pulled a photo album from a shelf. The photos were old, slightly faded, but well preserved. Sam flipped through them, a flicker of recognition dawning. It was from a university club he'd joined. He'd never bothered to look at the digital photos, let alone print them. Now he saw it. In the back of every group shot, there was a tall, skinny figure, lurking in the corner, his gaze always secretly fixed on Sam at the moment the shutter clicked. It was Leo. He couldn't believe it. The boy in the photos was gaunt, his long bangs obscuring his eyes, wrapped in an aura of deep melancholy. He was a world away from the confident, sunny sales director he knew today. He asked if he'd been reincarnated in the last 10 years. Leo smiled faintly, his finger tracing Sam's face in a photo. He gently accused him of being a liar, of luring him into the club with sweet words only to forget him completely. Sam's memory sparked. He'd been helping a senior student hand out flyers for new recruits. He'd been in a hurry to get lunch and had aggressively pitched the club to the first person he saw. He did remember a strange, quiet kid who, when cornered, had flatly stated he was gay. The words had triggered something in Sam, who was just coming to terms with his own identity. He had launched into a passionate defense, declaring that who a person loved didn't matter, that no one was better than anyone else. The boy had asked if he really thought so. Sam had puffed out his chest and promised to protect him in their club, to fight anyone who gave him trouble. The boy had given a tiny, fleeting smile. Overcome by a strange impulse, Sam had reached out and touched the corner of his mouth, telling him he had a beautiful smile and that he should do it more often. He had been in so many clubs, always busy. Their majors were different. The small encounter was quickly forgotten. He couldn't believe Leo had remembered it for all these years. He asked if that really counted as sweet words. He'd been so easy to fool. Leo's voice was soft. He said that after coming out of conversion therapy, Sam was the first person who had treated him like he was normal. He had no idea how much that meant to him at the time. Sam was speechless. Leo continued, his voice a low confession. He spoke of how popular Sam was, how he seemed to radiate a warmth that made people want to be near him. Just seeing him smile was enough to make his own day better. But back then, Leo was withdrawn, his social skills atrophied, and he couldn't even bring himself to speak to him. He practiced talking for months, to trees, to walls, until he regained his confidence. But by then, Sam had lost interest in that club. So Leo would ride his bike across campus just to wait outside Sam's dorm, hoping for a glimpse. When it came time to graduate, he found out which companies Sam had interviewed with and applied to every single one, just to ensure their paths would cross again. He looked at Sam, his eyes full of a gentle, unwavering light. He said that whether Sam believed it or not, for all these years, he had been his reason to keep going. Just being able to see him made life feel worthwhile. Sam was floored. He told Leo that with that kind of determination, if he just confessed, they could have saved a decade of trouble. Leo gave a sad smile. He hadn't known if Sam could accept a man and was afraid of scaring him away. Besides, Sam always seemed to hate him. Sam conceded that it was hard to love a colleague who created so much work. He glanced at Leo's crestfallen face and couldn't help but add, "But you're an exception." His eyes dropped to Leo's chest. He reached out and playfully squeezed a pectoral muscle. He chided him for wasting time being sad when he had assets like these. He should have used them to seduce him sooner, instead of waiting until his mother was on his case. He joked that if he'd ended up with someone else, it would have been all Leo's fault. Leo laughed, capturing Sam's hand and bringing it to his lips for a kiss. He promised to keep a close eye on him from now on, until Sam got tired of him. After nearly 30 years of solitude, love had finally found him. He walked into work the next morning feeling lighter than air, a song on his lips. Leo followed him into his private office, a smile playing on his own. In the throes of a new relationship, it was hard to be apart. Sam understood. He lowered the blinds, hopped onto his desk, and tugged Leo closer by his tie. He closed his eyes and puckered his lips, waiting. Nothing happened. He opened one eye. Leo was standing before him, his expression utterly professional, a wolf in sheep's clothing. He informed Mr. Miller that he needed to discuss another potential iteration for their product. There were 2 new issues he wanted to address. Then he leaned in, his voice dropping to a whisper, his breath warm against Sam's ear. "Patience," he murmured, barely suppressing a laugh. "Wait until after work. I'll take care of you then." Sam's face erupted in a blush. This was his punishment for falling in love with a colleague. Leo was impossible. His boyfriend was gone.